All right, Latinos for Trump family. We are live today, April 16th, here with our friend, Jean Ho. So I'm just going to wait, Jean, for a couple people to join us right now. And as soon as people start coming on to the live feed with us, it shouldn't take long. Let me just make sure everybody's watching and joining us. So I did advertise it and let people know that you were coming on with us. So let me just make sure we are. So Jean, how are you?
I am doing great. Under the circumstances, I'll tell you it's a little bit hard because everyone wants to be back working. That's how we are in America. We want to work hard. We want to be out there. So it's a little bit of adjustment, I'm sure, for everybody being at home.
Yes, it is. So we've got a couple of viewers here. They're now slowly coming on. They're coming on. They're joining us. So I just want to take the time really quick here to say we're live here at Latinos for Trump. We would like for you to share our podcast here. We're interviewing with Jean Ho. Jean Ho was going to join us at our Latinos for Trump conference. He was one of our guest speakers, and we were so sad when we couldn't go through with our conference. So he has generously decided to come live with us and be able to at least speak out to all of our viewership and all of our MAGA family. And so I'm going to let Jean just kind of tell you a little bit about who he is and what he does, and then I'll turn it over to you. So Jean, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. How are you?
I am great, and it's glad to be back here with the Latinos for Trump family. Some of you guys already may know me. I was Donald Trump's personal campaign photographer for the 2016 election, and now I'm on book tour and also helping for Trump and making sure that he gets elected in 2020.
Fantastic. Jean, tell our viewers how that was to be on the campaign tour with Donald Trump in 2016 when, I mean, nobody really thought he was going to win. It was like everybody was coming against him. How was that? How was that experience for you?
Well, I got this chance to see it from behind the scenes. And when I say behind the scenes, what I'm really talking about is beyond what the mainstream media was reporting. When I was traveling around, I was in restaurants, I was talking to people at hotels. And I tell you, there were so many people at the time telling me, listen, we are still supporting Donald Trump, but we're not telling our families. These were people part of the silent majority. And the difference for 2020 is we're not going to be part of the silent majority anymore. What we want to do now is all of us, the minorities, Latinos for Trump, Asian Americans for Trump, we need to take this time to be strong in 2020. And if we can do that, we're going to see a landslide of epic proportions because the silent majority is not going to be silent anymore.
You're awesome. Listen, Jean, tell us a little bit before we got locked down under this coronavirus. You were actually going to come to Texas and you were in California. Can you tell us a little bit about what you witnessed in California as you were doing your tour?
Yes, of course, I'm on a nationwide book tour for my book, Trumpography. But we started on the far end of the western end of the country. We did California, we did Las Vegas, we did Arizona, and we were making our way to Texas to be at the Latinos for Trump. But here is the interesting thing. In California, everyone thinks it's so blue, it's completely blue. That is the furthest from the truth. In California, I was selling out my events, my book tour events, and they were filled with minorities, Latinos, Asians, but in particularly the Latino family is so strong for Donald Trump in California. We have pictures. If you go to my website, just go to jeanho.com and then you'll see it just has been an amazing, amazing transition there in California.
Yeah, Texas, in 2016, Jean, when we first started this whole Latinos for Trump movement, there was the groups were actually Latinos Trump groups were coming out of California, very strong, and out of Florida. And so Texas, we just kind of followed along. And so it's amazing that that California is so blue, yet the Latinos are very conservative in California, and they really come out for Donald Trump. So it's amazing how we haven't turned that state, red. So I think there's just, it's because of a lot of voter fraud, I think, but I know that that they exist. We are not silenced no more. Here we got Steve Schaefer said, yes, no more silence. So thank you so much, Steve. Share our message. We will go full force for freedom, is what he says. So, Jean, you talked about your website, and also tell us a little bit about your book, and make sure our viewers know how to find your book, and tell us what inspired you to write that book. I bought the book. I started to read it, and it's really awesome.
Yeah. This is my book. It's called Trumpography. And of course, I was a photographer for Donald Trump in 2016. But the book is really a book of stories. It's what Donald Trump is really like behind the scenes. So I felt like the need to tell this story. And the interesting thing about it is during the 2016 election, I was there behind the scenes. I was what you call a fly on the wall. And when you think about it in those terms, a fly on the wall, I'm a minority. I was there and I seen how Trump reacted to other minorities and how he reacted to me. And I'm going to tell you that some of the strongest supporters of Donald Trump are the ones that actually met them that are minorities, because he treats us with dignity. Yes.
He's got a really loving heart that people just don't understand, and they just they don't know that side of him. So they just believe what the media, listen to what the fake news says, and they just automatically generalize him. And you got to witness that he is not like that. Is there a story or something that stuck out the most for you when you were on tour with him in 2016, something that you would like to share with our audience?
Right. And the important thing is, and you met my family, you met my wife. My children are mixed race. Yes. And when I first started with Trump, I had access to him all the time. So I never thought about inviting my family to meet him, because I always thought it was going to be there. And then suddenly the campaign got really busy. So it was about a year later before Trump actually met my wife and my son. And I tell you, Donald Trump looked at my son, who is mixed race, and he looked at him and he doted on my son like it was his own grandson. It was the most touching thing that I could ever imagine of the whole campaign, him meeting my son and my wife for the first time. This is a great man that we have in the White House. He is going to take every challenge, including the challenge we have right now, and he will fix things and he will make things right for all of us. But just seeing Donald Trump behind the scenes, how he not only reacted to me, but other minorities, which is really important. And the thing is, if you were a minority in America, generally speaking, we as minorities are ultra sensitive, pick up on people and prejudices really fast. And so I was there, I seen him behind the scenes. And isn't it interesting that all these minorities that met Trump personally all love him and say the same thing that I'm saying?
Correct. It's amazing. So I've been to the White House. I've been able to meet with him, not like sit down and talk to him, but I've been able to meet with him, shake hands with him at the Hispanic Heritage Month. And he is, I went during the time where I think they were, trying to talk impeachment and the Russian collusion, whatever. And there's always something, right? And he just looked so tired. But you could tell, he's got such a loving heart. Like he was just like, he walked right by me, Jean, and then he turned back and he came and he reached over and he says, with a very soft voice, he said, "Thank you so much for all you do." And I was like, wow, okay. And I was just so in the moment, I was like, I didn't get a picture. I didn't even get a picture. I was like, because I wasn't even thinking of that. I wasn't thinking of like, look at me. It was more of him walking by, and then he came back and reached out his hand and just a very soft voice. I'll never forget it. He's like, thank you for everything you do. And I thought, wow, like it was almost just that loving father feeling, that not like the boss that says, thank you for everything you do, but it was just more of the loving, compassionate, like, thank you for everything you do, with such a soft voice. And you could just tell his eyes were so very tired. And, but it was amazing. So I get it. I agree with you. It's like, people just don't know because they haven't actually seen that side of him. Was there ever a time behind the scenes that you felt that, why am I working for this guy? Did that ever cross your mind?
You know what? That is a great question, and probably one of the most poignant ones, because it is true. There was a time, I mean, we're talking this. Trump is a great person, but he's a very, very, very difficult boss to work for. He's very demanding, but that's what I wanted. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that I didn't. No one wants to work for a boss that can walk over. Trump wanted things fast. He was very demanding. He wanted things done correctly, but that makes him great. That's what makes him a great president. He demands so much from the people around him. So it was very difficult. The first year was really great. The second year, it was such a demanding schedule that it was very hard and difficult at times because you were on the road. I think near the end, we were doing sometimes four or five rallies per day. And so it was very draining. And it was, at the time, you're like, man, I really hope he wins. I believe he's going to win. But no, in the midst of it, working for him, I mean, it was a very difficult thing because he is a tough boss. But that's what we want in America. We want a commander-in-chief that's going to take control and demand the best of everyone around him. And that's why I appreciate him so much.
And that's probably why, Gene, you see that he has a turnaround rate in his administration, is because I can imagine that he is he's tough to work for. But good leaders, bosses, they don't get to where they're at by being someone who that you can walk over. You just can't have that kind of leader. Leaders that are not have high expectations, then they don't get things done. There's not very many people that just get things done, and he gets things done. And he promised that. He promised that on the campaign trail, that he would be the kind of leader and the kind of president that would get the job done. And we saw that time and time again from the day of inauguration on January 2017, as he started his whole administration. It was promise after promise after promise he fulfilled over and over and over. And the more he fulfilled those promises, the more the Democrats got angrier and angrier and angrier and came after him. So what else do you think that we need to be doing? I know you also are part of a Mighty Strike Force. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how exactly people can get involved, or what it is that you call the action?
You know what? Yes. Mighty American Strike Force is a very powerful tool that Trump has. Look them up, Mighty American Strike Force. I don't know if maybe I'll tweet it out later, or we can tweet it out. But it is basically a strike force that we will utilize right before the campaign, near the end of the campaign, as we identify places that are basically we could defend it or actually win over some blue states here. It's so important for everyone to get involved. And the thing is, it's not so much what I say. I say, hey, you got everyone do the same thing as I do. It's just like anything else. You have to find where you fit in with what we're doing in America. We have some really, really good Latinos for Trump members that are out there. They're talking to people. But it also reminds us that we can be active amongst our own group, amongst our Facebook groups. And by doing that, we all can figure out a part in this election, for big or small. But it's important to get involved. And more importantly, we cannot be afraid any longer. And I know this because with me, I will be the first to admit, I was part of the silent majority because I was afraid, even when I was part of the campaign, I was afraid, how are people going to look at me? How are people going to affect my business once this is over? But it's time now in America. We cannot be afraid anymore, and we won't be afraid anymore. It's time for all of us to determine for ourselves, what is our role? What is our role in this? Is that talking to our neighbors? Is it asking people if they're registered to vote? There's so much we can do for a lot, big or small, and let our hearts decide what it's going to be and do it.
Correct. I think that you're exactly right. And so, yeah, we have the Mighty Strike Force here in Texas. And I'm sure you know Rhonda Lacey. She is a phenomenal woman. And she just kind of, I call her cracking the whip. She cracks the whip. She makes sure that we've got a strong support of volunteers that are phone banking and block walking for when it, when that time is needed. So I just commend you, because not only are you out there traveling the nation and, talking about your story, promoting your book, and, doing all of the things that you're doing, but you're also part of Mighty Strike Force, and you're also helping behind the scenes with the Trump campaign and doing all the things that that we need to continue to do to keep this country great. And, and so I applaud you for all of your efforts. I think that I have met Nadine, your wife, beautiful family. You have a precious family, and for them to be on the road with you, it takes a lot. And so, so I just commend you for all of that. Not many people out there like you, Jean, that are just that to continue that fight. There's very few of us that do it. So tell us real quick, how can our viewers find your book? Number one, where do they go to order your book? Tell us again your website, and tell people how to follow you. How can they find you on Facebook and Twitter?
Right. Thank you very much for all of that. And I just want to tell, before I go and tell everyone about this, ultimately, at the end of the day, this is about our family and this is about our faith. That's why this election is so important, because the conservative values are the same values that Jesus has. And we need to be out there, and we need to be strong with that. And our faith needs to be part of it. But if you want to check out my book, the easiest way to do that is to go to my website. Of course, my name is Gene Ho, but if you go to geneho.com, GENEHO.com, there's a link there to Trumpography. You can buy the book right there off of my website, but check me out there. But also, please, especially if you're on Facebook, I post some of my stuff on my personal Facebook. So it's Gene Ho Personal. You can just look it up there, Gene Ho Personal. I'm over my limit of 5,000 friends, but just click on it, and as their space come up, I'll add you as friends. But you can follow along there, and there's a lot of fun stuff to look at. You could have my tour information from there as well. But thank you so much. I mean, what we are doing today means the world to everything, because what's going to happen is this election in 2020 is going to be the biggest of our lifetime. And I know we heard people say that all the time, but this is critical now, and we will win it as long as we are not afraid. Stand strong together. We're going to win this.
You're right. People like us, and that's why Latinos for Trump, we do what we do, because we have to make sure that our president is going to get reelected again, and that we continue to push out that conservative message. And that's why we were doing these conferences, because we wanted to make sure that we went into areas that typically people just don't really go and do any kind of education or, engagement with people, or to get to network people, or to really take our message out into areas that just, again, are left behind. And that's what I target. I target all those areas. And I know that you saw that we were feeding Border Patrol agents, we were doing a Border Patrol appreciation. And so we fed over 1,000 agents from McAllen to Laredo to El Paso. And so those are all little initiatives and projects. They're not really little, but that show the community service of what it wasn't much about Latinos for Trump. And it wasn't so much that we don't go there to say, hey, vote for Trump. We were there to say, hey, this is what Trump started. This is what he initiated. He lit the fire up and got people like us to form a group, an organization. And we believe in our community so much, Gene, that we wanted to give back. And that was our way, because we knew that the Border Patrol agents were those that were getting under attack. They were consistently under attack from the very get-go of Trump's the beginning when he got into office. And the thing is that we wanted to make sure that someone showed them that they were appreciated for all of the work that they were doing, because the media was turning them out to be monsters. And we said, no, this is not this. We need to show that someone does appreciate them. And it wasn't about us going there, like I said, to get a vote. It wasn't, we didn't even, do those kinds of things. We said, we are here to support you and to tell you that there are people that love you and care for you, and that we are behind you, even though that no one tells you that on a daily basis. And I think in every city that we went to, we were very much appreciated by those agents. They were taken back by the support and all that we did for them. And one of the things too is that, like in Laredo, Texas was a difficult city for us. No one wanted to help us. We got a lot of pushback because it's very Democrat stronghold. But I will tell you that at the end of the day, there were some Democrat shakers and movers in the area that did come and help us. And they saw that at the end of the day, that we were just there because we really did care about the Border Patrol agents. And I'll tell you that at the end of the day, they told us there was 3 women, and they were very hesitant. They didn't really want to talk to us when they got there, but they knew that they had to be there because they wanted to check out what we're doing. But then they helped us, and they helped do everything that we were doing, serving, going and delivering the plates, doing everything that we're doing. At the end of the day, they said, we may not like the guy, we may not like the president, we don't really care for Trump, but we like you guys. And you guys are awesome. And anytime you all want to come into Laredo and do anything again, please let us know. We will help you. That's what it was about. It's about building that relationship, because they need to see that there's people who support the president who are just people. We weren't there with an agenda. We weren't there to do anything, but they needed to see that this is what Trump produced. He produced people like us to go out there and do things that were good for the community. And that's how you win minds and souls, Gene. You know that. That's just, how it's done.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And really, at the end of the day, what really matters is that when Trump said, we're going to make America great, it goes back to us. What are we doing to make America great? What are we doing? Are we playing our role in that? And that's why it's so important with what we're doing, to be out there and talking to people about what we're doing, why we support Trump, and also really at the end of the day being good with everybody, supporting the backbone of our society, which in many ways is the men in uniform and who is protecting us.
Correct. I think you couldn't have said it any better. So, again, I guess, listen, as soon as we're let out of our homes, are you going back on the campaign trail? Or, are you going back out and promoting your book? What does that look like?
Yes. Basically, once we get done with this, we expect to be out back on the road, probably late May, early June. So we already have some dates planned, so we're expecting to. We think that this is going to get done pretty quickly.
Well, awesome. Well, you know that Latinos for Trump, we are going to be figuring out, we're just waiting for the president and the governor and people to kind of figure out, we don't want to start planning anything just yet, but we are going to definitely do something in lieu of our conference, whether it's a conference again or some kind of meetup or something. We are going to do that, and we'll be in communication with you, because we're going to want you to come back out to Texas. And I know that there was Republican women. Yes, there was Republican women groups that were just waiting to meet you and to hear your story. So we're definitely going to have to go back to Texas.
Well, we will be back. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Gene, I wanted to say thank you so much again for coming on and talking to all of our viewers and spending some time with us here at Latinos for Trump. We got a lot of work to do, as you know. And so is there anything that you think, a call to action, something that while people are still at home that you think that they can contribute in some, whether it's small or big? What do you think people can be doing right now to making sure that we keep the message alive for Trump?
You know what the thing is? And I'll say this with all due respect to the other people who have not, but on your Facebook channels, don't be so quick, friends, to delete people that don't agree with us. It's better sometimes to leave them on there and let us show the support we have for each other. If we post something positive, all of us support each other and like it, share it, and then those people in your friends group, perhaps it will be slowly won over by the process. But one of the things I tell people not to do is those people that really don't disagree with you, you don't always have to delete them. Keep them around. Let them see what we're about, and slowly by slowly we'll win people over to our side.
That's great advice. I know that some of us at Latinos for Trump, we have to like sometimes remove people because they get too angry and triggered. But that's really good advice. That's a challenge, and not everybody, but there's just those few that that gonna get crazy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So Jean, also one of the other things is, and I don't know if you're aware of this or you even are on this, but TikTok. Are you familiar with TikTok?
I know a little bit about it. I'm not on there, but a little bit about it.
Well, let me tell you, I established an account not too months ago, I guess, because I was like, what is this TikTok? And people were talking about it. And I'm going to tell you something. TikTok is a very different little source than Facebook and Twitter. And I'll tell you the amount of support that the president has on TikTok is crazy. Because it's people that you don't see on Facebook or Twitter. They probably do have Facebook and Twitter, but because they're just out there making friends, it's just you just swipe through these videos and you have law enforcement, military, nurses, you have people out in the country, you have people in a city. I mean, you have all kinds of walks of life making videos about Trump. There, and specifically, this was the real key. There's a lot of youngsters. Yeah, I call them youngsters, right? Because they're obviously like millennials and younger that are on there making, videos, and they're like either dancing or they're promoting something, but they're like, I'm voting for Trump. And so it's amazing to see that, for us who are out there trying to get those new voters or get those, communicate with those people to help out in some way or another, we need to reach out to those people on TikTok because they're just, I call them randoms because it's not like, I personally know them. And so it just would be good to reach out to them to see how they can get involved and to help and identify, even some more community leaders. So anyway, yeah, do if you establish an account on TikTok, just scroll through there, look for Trump 2020 and you'll automatically, that's all you get is just the videos of the Trump 2020, and just scroll and you will start laughing so hard with all of the creativity you see for Trump on there. It's amazing.
Wonderful. So, I will check that out.
Well, thank you so much. Well, Jean, we're almost here at the end of our time.
Thank you.
And so I promise I would only keep you 30 minutes because I know you're an extremely busy person. So again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in live with us on Latinos for Trump. And here I was interviewing Jean Ho, who was Trump's personal photographer in 2016. I have his website there, jeanho.com. You can find him on Facebook on Jean Ho on his personal page, and Twitter. It's is this correct? At Jean Ho Photo. Is that correct?
Yes.
On Twitter.
Yep. So just check me out there. Yeah,
yes,
please
good. And show everybody.
Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Show us your book real quick.
Called. Yep, there you go.
Trumpography, guys. Please go out, check it out. Go to jeanho.com, order yourself a book and read through it. It talks a lot about behind the scenes, what Jean Ho saw in 2016 and what he witnessed as he was traveling with the president. He has some amazing photographs in there as well that you will not see anywhere else. And so Jean is an amazing person. We thank him so much for all the work that he's done. So anyway, share our message. Let everybody know. We will be back with you at Latinos for Trump when we are ready to have our next conference. And Jean Ho, you will be part of that. We thank you so much.
And I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for taking the time to watch today.
Thank you so much, Jean.
Thank you.